You wake up. Above your bed, taped to the wall, there's a portrait. Not a band, not an athlete, a king. It's been there your whole life. Everyone you know has one. You get up and look out the window. Every porch on the street is flying a flag. None of them have stars. Red, white, and blue. But it's the Union Jack. On the table, your money. Pounds and shillings. There is no dollar. There has never been a dollar. Today is the 4th of July. It's a Tuesday. No fireworks, no barbecue, nothing. Just a Tuesday. You are not a citizen. You're a subject of the crown. There's a difference. And you've never once questioned it. This is North America. But there is no United States. There never was. And all of it comes down to one war that was lost. A war that, in another world, was won. 1776. 13 colonies sign a declaration and break away from the most powerful empire on Earth. A farmer general named George Washington leads a ragged, starving army against the British crown. In our world, against impossible odds, they win. Here, they don't. The French fleet never sails. Without it, the army is trapped at Yorktown, and this time, it's Washington who surrenders his sword. The leaders are charged with treason. The rebellion collapses. The colonies stay British. There is no constitution, no Bill of Rights, no founding fathers, only defeated rebels in the history books. And from that single lost war, the entire world bends in a different direction. With no American republic, the world never sees proof that ordinary people can govern themselves. Kings and queens stay in power longer everywhere, because no one ever shows them another way is possible. But one thing comes sooner. In 1833, Britain abolishes slavery across its entire empire, and that includes all of North America, which means there is no American Civil War. The 600,000 who died in our world simply live. The continent grows as one vast British dominion, not a nation of citizens, but provinces of a crown. There is no American dream. The phrase is never invented, because the country that would have coined it doesn't exist. Immigrants still cross the ocean, but to bow to a distant king, not to a republic that promises they can become anything. The cities rise with British names and British order. New York is a loyal colonial port, not the capital of capitalism. Power doesn't sit in a Congress. It sits in London, an ocean away. 1914. The world goes to war, but the map is not the one you were taught. There is no rising American superpower waiting across the ocean to tip the balance. So when Europe bleeds itself white, no fresh army of millions arrives from a new world to end it. The war drags on, longer and darker. Whoever finally wins, wins differently. The 20th century you grew up reading about never happens. There is no Cold War the way you imagine it, because there is no United States to stand on one side of it. No race to the moon between two flags. When a rocket finally goes up, the flag on its side is a crown, not stars and stripes. And the culture of the whole planet is different. There is no Hollywood, no jazz out of New Orleans the way you know it, no rock and roll out of the American South. The soundtrack of the world belongs to somebody else. The movies everyone watches, the songs everyone sings, none of them are the ones you grew up with. The money that runs the world is not the dollar. It's the pound. It always has been. There is no Silicon Valley, the garage where two young men built a computer company. It's just a garage in a country that doesn't exist. When the machines that think finally arrive, they're built in the Empire's labs, under the Empire's rules. Even the network that connects the world is not the one you use. Different wires, different rules, a different web. By the 21st century, there is no leader of the free world, because the phrase needs a free republic to mean anything, and there isn't one. The planet is carved up between old empires that never had to share the stage with a loud young democracy from across the sea. No one talks about free speech as a birthright. No one was raised on a Bill of Rights. Power here is older, quieter, and it has never once apologized for itself. And now you're back in your room, The king on the wall, the pound on the table, the Union Jack on every porch. Now you know why. One war, lost in 1783 instead of one. One fleet that never sailed. One surrender instead of a victory. In our world, those colonies won. And everything you call normal, the dollar, the 4th of July, the whole idea of being a citizen instead of a subject, grew out of that single victory. So here's the question. How thin was the line? How close did the world you actually live in come to never existing at all? Tell me in the comments which world you'd rather wake up in tomorrow, and I'll show you the next one.